This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Get started with a free trial at squarespace.com with no credit card required. And when you're ready to purchase a plan, get 10% off with the offer code RU. That's Squarespace offer code RU. This episode is also brought to you by Mott and Bow. Mott and Bow make handcrafted, stylish, great-fitting, high-quality jeans for as low as $96. They're amazing. Now, they've been creating jeans for over 30 years in their own manufacturing facility. So, cuts out the middleman and offers you a great product without all those markups. Now, listen, when you're ready to purchase a pair of fabulous jeans from Mott and Bow, use the offer code RU, R-U, and get 20% off. That's Mott and Bow. It's MOTTANDBOW.com. Use the offer code RU, R-U, for 20% off. That's Mott and Bow. Insanely comfortable, incredibly affordable, and courageously simple.
What do you want? What's the tea? Tell me what's the tea? What's the tea? Tell me what's the tea? What's the tea? Tell me what's the tea? What's the tea? Tell me what's the tea?
RuPaul, What's the Tea with Michelle Visage. Hey, kitty girl.
Hey, granny girl.
Did you call me granny girl?
I called you granny
That
girl.
is your new thing because we can't say it with a T anymore.
No, so we're just going to say for everything that's tea related, I checked the granny in my car.
You know, that's one of the fun things about having you as a friend. And actually, all the people who I gravitate toward, there's a certain irreverence. Mm-hmm. There's a certain mocking of everything that other people take so seriously. Mm-hmm. You know, I told you, say it time and time again, my 10th grade teacher, Mr. Pinnell, God bless him, gave me the best advice I ever got, which was, RuPaul, do not take life too seriously.
Yep.
Such great advice. I didn't get it then, but I sure get it now.
No, it's way too big of a concept to understand as a child. But I have to tell you, if you can't live life that way, you're going to end up real rigid and old and all crumpled up inside and all blackened. It's not what life is about.
No. But you know, it's hard to tell a teenager that because a teenager is still trying to create its own identity and trying to make a way, say, I'm here, world, look at me, you know. And so a lot of times, you know, you take yourself very seriously.
You told me that when I was a teenager. I ain't studying you.
No.
Don't tell me not to take it seriously. This is serious. This is life or death. I don't know what to wear.
He hasn't called me, Mom. You don't understand.
Hello, I haven't had my first kiss. This is life or death. When is my period coming? I don't have boobs.
Right.
That's life or death for a kid.
I know.
But for us adults, it's not.
You know, I wouldn't trade that time for anything. You know, and my thing, it was such a traumatic period for me in my teens. And then even my 20s, I spent so much time needing people to like me or, you know, getting the world to see me as, you know, all this stuff. It wasn't until I hit 30 that things calmed down enough for me to enjoy my life.
That's where life begins.
I think so.
Yeah, because really, the teenage years, you're just really starting to find out what you're all about. 20s, you're really caught up in the crux of everything that's the mishigas, as they say in Yiddish. Everything that's going on, right?
Yeah. Now, your girls are, one is 14.
One's 14 and one's 12.
And 12.
So they're right in the mishigas.
Yeah, and you at that age, but you were fast, weren't you? You were a fast girl.
I ran with a fast crowd. I was a fast girl, but fast in the sense that, meaning I wasn't a popular girl. I wasn't down with OPP. I was the girl who I watched everything. I took everything in. I'm a sponge. Still am to this day.
You still are.
Love learning something from everything. That's why I want to know a little bit about everything if I can. Not everything about everything. That takes too long.
Yeah.
So just a little bit about everything. So I was that girl who kind of knew everything. So when people came around, they couldn't hang with me. Because if they were wrong, I'd call them on it and they didn't want to listen. I go, no, you're wrong. No, I'm not. It says 2 + 2 is 4 right here. Nope, don't want to hear it. That's wrong. It's 5.
Yeah. So, but how, in terms of your progression and your girls' progression, are they far behind? Are they anything like you? Or the sort of
my 14-year-old girl is so ahead, so far ahead
of you at that age.
Me at that age,
How?
because I'm a mom. I love you, rest in peace. But I'm a better mother, and I contribute it to. She was an incredible mother, but she also was a different generation. So they didn't do what we do now. I pay attention to everything. She was like, whatever, go outside. You're good. You know, I'm sure as your mother did too.
Yeah.
And they just had so much other stuff on their plate. They ain't worried about they ain't studying them damn kids.
I don't know, but there's a part of my mother's negligence that actually kind of helped me because I was able to go out and do do whatever I wanted
Agreed.
to.
And she's going to do it too. I don't hover over. Can I go out with my friends Friday night? We're going to go to the Commons or wherever they hang out. Absolutely go. I don't know what they're
is
doing.
the Commons?
That's like an outdoor mall in Calabasas
Yeah.
where all the kids go. I know that she's not going to get in too much trouble there, but I know she ain't being a saint.
Right.
That's when they're going to have their times. If she wants to go to house parties, I'm going to say go. That's where we learn those things.
Sure.
That's where I had my first kiss. But the thing is, I'm well aware of the shit that she tries to pull because I tried to pull it. My mother was not. My mother was real quick, real Brooklyn, real on top of it, but I could pull one over on her. Lily cannot pull one over
So you were
on
a
me.
stunt queen as a child.
Oh my God.
What was the most incredible stunt you pulled over on your mother?
Having sex with my boyfriend in the house while she was there.
You
She-
are lying.
Listen to me.
You are lying. How old were you?
I lost my virginity when I was 16, so I must have been 16 or 17.
Wow.
My boyfriend of 4 years, he was part of the family, worked for my dad because his parents were checked out. He lived with his brother. The mother was in a psycho ward, or the father was in a psycho ward. The mother remarried, didn't care, right? Yeah. He lived with the brothers. He ended up working for my father, became part of our family, my first boyfriend. We were in the den underneath the crocheted blanket. He was behind me. Just laying down. It's very easy.
Sure.
Slip it in.
Yeah.
We were at it. My mother walks in. She's like, you guys want anything to eat? He was inside of me. Swear to God. I said, no, we're good. We're good. Swear to God.
Michelle
In my house.
Visage. Oh my goodness. Was it the first time? No, that wasn't.
Not the very first time we
No, it
had
wasn't
sex.
the first time,
but,
no.
Yeah, first time we got busted. Broad daylight under a blanket on my couch.
And your mother walked in, and you think she suspected
Not
anything?
a thing.
Yeah.
That's the difference between me and my mother. She was a great mother. And when I say I was a better mother, that's terrible because she was an incredible mother. And I was so blessed to have been adopted by her and my dad. But she just wasn't aware of the little shit.
Right.
I am fully aware of the little shit. That's the difference.
Of your $2, which of the two would be more like you in being able to pull a stunt?
Probably Lily, because Lola, the younger
is that
one.
the younger one?
No, that's the older one.
Yeah. See, now Michelle named her children similar names. So over the years, I've known them all. I don't know the difference between their names.
Like
I don't
your
know
mother
which
did
is
with
which.
all y'all.
Yeah. My mother named
Rosie,
us.
Renee, Renetta, Rue.
Yeah, they all are names, and we get confused. My
Right,
sisters and
of
I get
course.
confused. We have to go through the whole roll call to get it right.
You know, many times I go, Lola, come here. She goes, you just call me Lily. I go, no, I didn't. Because sometimes I'll call her Loli, like my little Loli.
Yeah.
She thinks I'm saying Lily.
Right.
And she's like, yes, you did. You don't love me.
Yeah.
You called me Lily. I go, no, I did not.
Now, but before we move on, in hindsight, was that a mistake to name them such similar names?
No, because Lana was in the mix, Layla was in the mix, Lila was in the mix. They were all there. If I would have had another one, she would have been probably Lana, Lily, Lola, and Lana. So no, it wouldn't have been a mistake. I do not regret it. I'm like a Kardashian, only L. I'm a Lardashian. I'm a Lardassian.
God.
But
my God.
Lily is exactly like
The
me.
younger one?
The older one.
The older one.
But the little one, but I don't worry about Lily. She's smart. She got her shit together. She wants to go to Ivy League. She's got her life planned. She's the one who loves Vera Lynn and
Yeah.
Julie London and wants to be wooed by a
Can
man.
we from now on just refer to them as the older one and the younger one?
yes.
Yeah.
So younger is the one that I think is going to be upside down doing a keg handstand. Now, she's not like me at all, but she's the one that's the follower
So
and
she's
not
a
the
party
leader.
girl. She's a
is.
party girl.
She just wants people to love her.
Aww.
No, she's coming to her own where
Yeah.
she's in a way now that she's like, I did not do that. I'm not doing that. She's also a rule follower. But I think when she goes to college, that's going to go out the window.
Yeah. And do they like each other, the girls?
Hate.
They don't like each other.
At all.
Do they hang out at all?
Never.
They don't.
I try to encourage it. The only time they'll hang out together is if we do something where there's nobody else, like Disney or like a mall, and they're just trying to get along because I'm buying them shit.
Yeah.
Other than that, no. But My brother and I couldn't stand each other. Now we're closer than ever. You have to go through that, I think. And they're 23 months apart.
Yeah.
So Lily is older. She got her lady situations going on. Lola is like still a kid playing with her doll.
No, there is a huge difference between those ages at that point.
Yeah.
But as they get older,
They'll come together.
Sure.
Because they love each other. When I say hate, I mean, you know what anybody who has a sibling knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's not hate from the pit of the soul.
Right.
It's hate, you're my younger sister, get away from me.
Yeah.
And her going, you're not always right about everything. Stop. It's a lot of that. It's exhausting.
It is. Oh, God. I really did not. In fact, 13, 14 were the worst years of my life.
More so for a girl. It is going into the depths of hell.
Right.
And staying there.
Is it because the
hormones?
The hormones.
The hormones are rampant. It's also the point where you start to like boys or girls, whatever your situation is. You start to see people starting to couple. Girls are getting their period. Why am I not getting mine? She has boobs. I don't have anything. Boys don't like me anymore. They're going through their awkward phase where they can get acne or they're not making the braces. Older is getting braces now. So there's all sorts of things going on and trying to find your group of friends that you fit in with.
Yeah.
Because you outgrow them.
Yeah.
Your friends in middle school are different in high school.
Yeah.
And trying to find it's a rebirth in high school. It's a brand new world.
I got to leave my mother's house when I was 15, which was the
Where
best
did you? What's
thing.
your sister?
I moved in with my sister. I was going to, I pretended to go to Patrick Henry High School for a whole quarter.
And they didn't know?
Well, you know what? I got on the bus every day and I went out there, and this is in San Diego with Patrick Henry High School.
You faked the funk.
And I faked the funk. I stayed in the quad of the high school all day long, didn't go to any classes.
And no teacher and nobody came out and said, how come you're always out here?
No, because there was always someone who didn't have a class. And I was out there smoking cigarettes with all the other kids and stuff.
So did you drop out?
What happened was...
Get your GED.
They find... After 3 months of doing that, they called my mother and said, this is not working. He's not going to any classes. And they pulled me out of that school. And my sister said, you're coming to live with me. This is Renetta, my soul sister, who is 7 years older than me. I have two twin sisters. Renee and Renetta are twins, and they're 7 years older than me. But Renee at that point was in the Air Force. And Renetta said, you're coming to live with me. So I moved in with her. And then about 6 months later, she and her husband moved to Atlanta, and that's how I got to Atlanta. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Did you finish school?
No. You know what? When I moved to Atlanta, I had to repeat the 10th grade because I had flunked the 10th grade.
Because you were never there.
I was never there. So I had to repeat the 10th grade, and then by the time I got to the 11th grade, I said, F this shit, I'm done. So I dropped out, and then a year later, I took the GED. So that is the extent of my schooling. Because, by the way, I hated school.
How come?
I hated it because the way I'm a smart person, but the way that I'm able to absorb this information, they weren't teaching that.
Okay, that's the downfall, and I'm not going to go too far into this because it could bore people, but that is the downfall of our educational system, especially in this country, because kids, especially boys and girls, look really different. They learn differently and really quickly without zoning off. There was a whole study done in Europe about boys and girls. They went into the boy classroom. All the tables were gone. They only had chairs around the outside of the room, the perimeter of the room. They were learning, active, moving, going, teaching, seeing, feeling, touching. And that's how it sunk in for the boys.
Right.
For the girls, they had the desks all in a row. But they were grouped together so they could talk to each other about what they were learning because that's how girls learn. That's what we do wrong in this country as an educational system. We don't educate children according to their gender, because genders do, whether you're cisgendered, trans, whatever is within you is the way you should be taught.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, there's a different way of learning.
Thankfully, Thankfully, I had TV because everything I learned from the television.
If I didn't have Sesame Street and Electric Company, I would not be who I am today.
Yeah.
And then all the sitcoms in the 80s, they all made, the late 70s and 80s, made who I am today.
Well, let me tell you something. You know, the TV show Bewitched, which is still on the air today, I learned so much about marketing. And even what I do today in show business are things that I learned from that show of like how to market something, how to look at a product or a situation and go, I'm going to work this out like this. I learned it from Matt. School was not working for me.
And it doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, as a parent, I hope you all push your education as far as you can, because in this day and age, it's not like when Brew was growing up. Can you do it without an education? Yes. But does an education help? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It makes it easier.
It does make it easier. But I think how do you find the right method of educating your child, especially,
Tough. You got to see how your kid does. I know that in my head, I wanted to teach my kids in Montessori, like starting really young, where everything's tactile and they learn through movement and motion and stuff like that. It's a different way of teaching, and I like it. But there's also schools in Florida where my kids were going to school, elementary school, where they taught on the principles of the secret, which I love.
Wow,
they
love that.
put it out to the universe and it comes back. There's so many great schools out there, and that was in Palm Beach County. So many great schools out there, but for some of us, they're just too expensive to afford.
Right.
I can't pay 28 grand. And even if I had it, I don't think I would, because I am a child of the public school system. Yeah. And if you're in the right place, I'll pay extra taxes or do whatever I got to do, pay higher rent to be in a great school system, knowing that my kid is going to get the education they deserve.
Yeah, yeah. My folks, my father was out of the picture, but my mother, she had her own drama going on. So she really couldn't pay attention to what I needed.
Yeah, your situation was tough.
It was tough. And thankfully, my sister Rosie, who's just a year younger than me, she finished high school. She went to UCLA, graduated. I think she's got a master's degree.
Boy and girl.
Yep.
Difference.
Yep. Yeah.
The boys take a lot more to focus, and they have to be taught a different way.
Yeah.
And it is what you make of it. Because I have to tell you, I came through a public school system where arts was not heavily in there. Arts wasn't even in there at all. Like in a theater department, that was it. And if it weren't for me pushing, and this is where my parents did great things by paying attention to that, they made sure that I got my acting classes, my vocal lessons. And it's not that they had money, because we grew up in a lower middle class. Both of my parents worked full time. I was a latchkey kid. They both worked jobs. They just did whatever they made, and whatever they had extra went to my lessons. And then I auditioned my way into an arts high school that nobody even knew existed. If my parents didn't know it existed, they'd take me out of my regular high school 2 or 3 days a week to go to the few towns over high school, which had an arts program.
Wow.
But if you don't look into these things, you got to do research as a parent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My kid's an athlete. So I look for potential places that she can get scholarships or go for free training or things like that.
Well, I got to give it to my mother. She did know that I wanted to be famous. I wanted to act and sing and dance. She did put me in the San Diego Children's Theater, which I didn't
So she knew.
She didn't. I got piano lessons, and I didn't continue any of that stuff. But she
tried.
She did try to do that.
She opened it up to you.
Yes.
Where a lot of these kids don't have that because the parents don't know what to do. But if you just look, if you're a parent listening, or if you're a kid who wants this and you're not getting it, you can Google. There's free stuff. There's guaranteed, even if you live in small towns, back swamp, I can guarantee there's something close enough that you can get to that can help explore your passion, your art, drawing, whatever your passion is. You cannot give up on what it is, because that's what's going to take you into those situations where you don't like school.
Yeah.
That's going to push you further so you can stick with it.
I was very lucky.
Yeah.
I was very lucky, and I just wish the best for all those kids out there.
Yeah.
So when we come back, we want to talk about relationships.
Surviving breakups.
Surviving breakups. So we're going to take a little break right here, but we'll come back and talk about that. Now, before we talk about surviving breakups, let's take a moment to talk about Squarespace. Now, we've received some more fabulous emails at RuPaulPodcast@gmail.com about your Squarespace websites. This one here is from Kelly Black. It reads, "Hello, RuPaul. I won't embarrass you by going on and on about what huge fans my partners and I are, unless you want me to. I'll be brief. My partners and I started a small family law estate planning firm in the Bay Area earlier this year. We are collectively balancing single motherhood, day jobs, and family upheaval while trying to get our business off the ground. After shopping around, we chose Squarespace to design our website because, frankly, we don't have the technical skill or time to do it the hard way. Our site looks professional, complies with our professional ethical rules, and still shows some of our collective personality. Please give us a look when you have the time. It's nbblegal.com. Our blog is pretty rad. Sincerely, Kelly Black." That's cool. I love that. So guys, Kelly's firm specializes in family law and estate planning. And when you're in the legal field, you really need a website that represents your integrity and one that people can trust. Kelly accomplished just that with her Squarespace site with its clean and thorough design. They also have a really fun blog that talks about current events and relates it back to estate planning. Squarespace is a great tool for them, and it really engages their audience. Now, if you want a free trial with no credit card required, just go to squarespace.com. And when you're blown away and ready to confirm a plan, just use the offer code RU to get 10% off. You'll be getting a great deal and helping to keep this podcast, What's the Tea, free. Thanks again to Squarespace, and keep sending your websites to RuPaulPodcast@gmail.com. That's squarespace.com, offer code RU. All right, we are back, and we're here to talk about some relationship stuff. This is the thing that everybody deals with. I don't care who you are, whether you're gay or straight or whatever. It's the relationship stuff that really informs us who we really are. And it wasn't until I got into relationships in my, early 20s.
What was your first relationship?
I met a boy, well, let's see. It's a tricky question because obviously the first relationships are with your parents,
Right.
And that informs how you behave in
your
adult
other
relationships. But,
yeah.
I was a virgin until I was 18 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
Longer than me?
Yeah. And I think, you know what? That's normal. 18 is about the average age.
What?
Yes,
Where?
it is.
In New Jersey, 12 is the average age. It's South Plainfield, New Jersey, to be exact.
Well,
Seriously?
That sounds like Alabama.
I don't think that's the average age. I think you're way off.
It'd be interesting to hear from you guys to see what age you guys lost your
Most
virginity.
boys lose their virginity at 12 or 13.
I've read that I've
By
read
an older girl.
What's the website what's the email? They email us at
RuPaul Podcast at gmail.com.
Yes, RuPaul Podcast at gmail.com. Tell us when you lost your virginity, because I've read for years that 18 is the average age.
That seems awfully high.
But the first time I had a boyfriend, I dated guys before that. But
you never had a girlfriend?
Never had a girlfriend.
Okay.
But the first time we called each other boyfriends I was 21. 21. I dated some guys. I'm from San Diego, so there was
the naval base.
The naval base was there.
The average male loses his virginity at 16. Now I find that high. The average female slightly older at 17.
Huh. I bet it's
still high for me.
I bet it slid down recently, but I think
Absolutely.
It was always up there around 18.
I think in the 50s it was.
Well, no. Actually, up until recently, it was 18.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Really crazy. And good. That makes me feel better because I don't want my kids losing virginity till they're...
Well, I think if you know yourself well enough, I think it's probably fine.
And I want to go back to your first relationship. But before we do, do you think that there's a line that you cross to where you're almost too old to be a virgin? Meaning... Like Lolo Jones complains, the great Olympic hurdler who is stunningly gorgeous. Mm-hmm. She's still a virgin. She's 31.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
still a virgin, 31, because she's a Christian and she was waiting for her husband.
Yeah.
And now she's thinking, I ain't ever going to have a husband, I don't think. And nobody wants this girl who's a virgin because they don't want to wait.
Yeah.
A 35-year-old man don't want to wait for vagina.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I'm waiting until you marry me.
Oh.
So I wonder if there's a line then that you become almost too old to keep your virginity.
Oh, it's
crazy, right?
It is kind of crazy. It is kind of crazy because there's a natural trajectory of development, and I don't think that, being over 30, me personally, it's my own opinion.
When you were 18 when you lost your virginity?
18 years old to someone who was 36.
Of course.
Yeah.
Dirty bitch.
Yeah.
Was it a relationship?
No.
Or was it a bar relationship?
No, this was...
Did you meet at the Red Onion?
No, this is honest to God truth. I had moved back to San Diego for a hot little minute. I was living in Atlanta. My mother still lived in San Diego, so I would go back and forth, 3 months here, 3 months in the other place. So I went to the gay center in San Diego when I was 17, just to meet other gay people, and the counselor there, this guy, he would talk to me, and
you did not have sex with your counselor.
When I turned 18,
oh my God!
You know what?
That is so morally unethical.
Well, I don't think so. I think I turned 18, and the week I turned 18,
it's like fucking your therapist.
He kissed me, and I swear to you, Michelle, my knees buckled.
Aww.
My knees buckled when a man kissed me. And that was actually the first time I actually kissed a man.
But when you lost your virginity?
Yeah, well, no.
A day before.
Yeah. An hour before. Actually, after his
we had
credit
sex.
card cleared. So he kissed me, and then and then we sort of messed around, and then I think a few weeks later we probably had sex. But
Morally unethical, I'm saying it.
he was 36, I was 18, and you know what? Looking back, I thought it was fantastic. It was
love a
great.
little boy.
He was fantastic.
I will help any little boys who need to lose their virginity. I am available. I will ruin you for other people.
Right. Well, there's that.
But
yes.
I'm readily available.
But then years later, I had my first real boyfriend at 21 in Atlanta, Georgia, and talk about really understanding what a job my parents had done on me.
Now, were you alone at this point, or still living with your sister?
I was living on my own in
That's what I meant.
Midtown
Yeah.
Atlanta.
Okay.
And
then you realized how screwed up you got.
I realized how screwed up I was and how I was emulating things that I'd seen my parents do. Like my parents would fight and scream and holler. And, there's a scene in Prince of Tides where the kids, to avoid their parents fighting, they would go and jump in the lake. So they
Everything
didn't
goes
have to
back to
hear it.
Barbara.
Yeah, everything goes back to Barbara. And it reminded me of the time that my sisters and my parents would be fighting, and my sisters and I would go and huddle in one of the bedrooms and just squeeze together like little refugees and squat down in the corner and wait until sort of the
You did not just say like refugee.
Yes, we did. Like the Fugees.
Yeah.
and we would
The
just
Fudgies.
wait until the war was over. They'd be screaming and fighting. And
Do you
we'd hear,
think my kids do that when I fight?
you guys break glass and
Oh,
throw
no.
punches?
We're the
and-
Bickersons.
Okay.
We're the Bickersons. We fight like every day.
Okay.
And there have been moments where my daughter will come down in tears saying, "Are you going to get divorced?" I'm like, "Oh, no, that's just mommy.
Yeah.
Mommy's just really loud. Honey, no divorce."
Well,
Do you think I'm doing that to them?
they are picking up everything.
I'm ruining my children.
Well, this is the thing. But, I've had to work through what I picked up from my parents. And that was 21. It was the first time I realized, oh my goodness.
I need help.
Where did I get that from?
Yes.
It's like, well, you know where you got that from. You got that from Irving and Ernestine. And, my father's name was Irving.
old Jewish name.
Who names their children Ernestine and Irving anymore?
I miss those names. My God.
So they were. That was my first relationship, and it broke my heart. I was so traumatized by it.
Do you know that I'm not dreading my daughter's first relationship? I'm dreading their first breakup.
Yeah.
Because my first relationship, the boy that I had sex with on the couch, I dated him for 4 years. Okay, my first relationship was 4 years.
How long before he got to know you in the
Have sex
biblical
with me?
sense? Yeah.
Listen to this. So we started dating. I was 14. 14, 15, 16, 17. I'm a September baby, so I graduated at 17 instead of 18.
Yeah.
Most people graduate at 18.
Right.
So I met him at the bonfire at Christmas time in the winter, because in New Jersey, everybody used to go to the golf course. There would be a bonfire everybody hung out at, and then we'd go sleigh riding. So I met him up there. He was like into punk rock like I was, but like he was everything. I was like, oh my God, tall, skinny, blonde kid. He was just everything.
Who would play him?
Who would play him?
Evan Peters?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
But
gorgeous.
more punk rock, not curly hair, straight hair. Yeah. And we dated for a long time. Now I was a virgin. I was 14. He lived with his brothers who were selling pot for a living.
Yay. They were industrious.
Totally.
Yeah.
And they did not care what he did, but he was very studious. He was very responsible. He was the one who was keeping shit together. And he was embarrassed of them. So I remember that I wouldn't have sex with him, but he was like, okay, well, we got to do something. He
I love him.
taught me how to give head, worked with me every day. Hand to God, I gave him head every day for 3 years.
Yes,
I
congratulations.
became a master of the blowjob.
Wow, that's fabulous.
I was so good.
At 14.
Well, 14, 15, 16, finally, because I was so scared to lose my virginity, because every girl says how much it hurts.
Yeah.
You lose that hymen. I don't want to get too graphic, but
Yeah.
the sheets, everything was destroyed.
Yeah.
I told my mother, I got my period, because she had to come pick me up. I wasn't even driving. All over my sweatpants. And so I waited 3 years for him to finally take my virginity.
Now, at any point in these 3 years leading up to your virginity, was there any discussion of the back door at all?
Never.
Because I always wondered about that with
Never.
straight kids.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you don't
Well,
want to
that's
get
a Catholic schoolgirl thing.
Well, you don't want to get pregnant, but I think, okay, there are other options.
Well, we did everything else, but except not anal.
No anal.
No, but
You
I
weren't
gave
like
him head every day.
anal Annie.
No anal Annie.
Yeah.
He was all up in with hands and
Hey.
stuff. But I was like, well, then maybe I'm ready.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't until that moment. And then once I lost my virginity, that was the big downfall.
Why?
Then I became a whore. I swear to God. I swear to
oh
God.
my God. Because you're like, I want more. I want more of that
What you
right
got?
there.
Times 2. Where's my first black boyfriend? Now it was on. So then he was a senior and I was a junior. He went away to college. Big mistake.
Yeah.
Do not leave me.
Were you guys still together?
Still together. He's in college. Now, we had our ups and downs throughout the years. He treated me like shit. He treated me so badly. He would make fun of what I was wearing. Go, I ain't walking with you wearing that today because I was a punk rock girl. Fashion was my expression.
Yeah.
So he went away to college and I started going to teen clubs. Well,
Yeah.
I saw boys from other towns
Hey.
who didn't know that I was a freak. And girl, when I tell you, I met the Michaels and the Anthonys, and it was done.
Yeah.
I was banging people in cars.
Yes.
It was
Right
all, and
on.
we didn't have to worry about HIV.
Yeah,
it was.
right.
I was bareback Betty. Forget about anal Annie. I was bareback Betty. What? You got a car, you got a back seat, and a penis?
Hey.
Good. My sex stories go on. They're legendary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then my first Puerto Rican, Carlos Morales from Elizabeth, New Jersey. And then after him, I moved on to my first brother, Barry Sanders.
a Bonigani.
Yeah, well, then it just went, I just became a whore.
Yeah.
And he found out about it. And I was like, sorry.
Yes, sorry
You
about
left.
it.
You went to Elmira, New York. What am I going to do with
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
And I remember visiting him and having sex with him and realizing, oh, I'm done. I'm done with this chapter.
Yeah, right. Oh, because it's like once you've tasted other flavors.
I don't want that
And
anymore.
I'm not going.
I'm not going back to vanilla.
Yeah, I'm not going back to vanilla.
And that was it. And I tried many times to reconnect with him, and because my mother loved him, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
I just moved on, and I was unfaithful, and I was a cheating bitch for my entire life. Every one of my boyfriends I had cheated on, either little or exponentially.
Yeah.
Because I think I did it. And this sounds crazy, but once it became too intimate emotionally and I had to open up, I started then moving on. It was a defense
right.
mechanisms. Then I'd move on to the next one. But I'd always went from relationship to relationship to relationship.
Right.
And I'd just cheat on them.
Before it got too deep, because, that
Before
was
it
the
got too
thing is
deep,
that,
yes.
when I broke up with my first boyfriend, I was so heartbroken because for the first time,
How long did you date?
it was probably about 5 months, 4 months. It was very short. But this is the thing. I realize now in hindsight that it was the first time I'd come close to approaching my relationship with my father, because I was always attracted to men who were really emotionally unavailable. They were funny and charming and good looking, just like my father, and all of those things, but they couldn't give me the connection, that sort of emotional connection that I really crave. And so what I realized is that for years, I found myself in situations reliving the scenario with my father, which was, I can get this close to you, but I can't get any closer, And so...
And mine's that, but opposite. When they came that close, I ran.
Yeah, so you were the...
You were seeker and I was the runner.
Exactly.
I was your father.
Yeah. Well, that's the scenario everybody finds himself in. In the song Modern Love, I have a little spoken word part in the album Born Naked where it says, I found myself in situations chasing people who were chasing someone else who was chasing a completely different person.
Yep.
And it's this sort of merry-go-round that we find ourselves in. What is that about? What is that thing where we're all looking to complete ourselves through another person?
Well, that's self-love. It all goes back to, and trust me, it's a journey for me. It's a journey for you, trying to find our self-worth within ourselves. And you were saying that somebody said, if you're looking for something outside of who you are to complete you, you're going down a bad road.
You're because you'll never find it. You are the only thing that can fill that hole that you want to sort of fill up.
And it takes work. It ain't just going to go, oh, today I love myself. It's done. No, it takes work. It's a daily thing. And the hole that I was trying to fill was more than just my physical
between
hole.
me down there, yeah.
It was like, I just want to move on before you get too close, before you get too close.
But that trick never works, does it?
Never works. That's why I married the man that finally said, I don't have a need to run and hide from you.
Yeah.
But he still to this day fights for more intimacy from me because I have that wall that it's just up, and I fight every day to try to knock it
Now,
down.
how much of that has to do with the fact that you were adopted?
I think all of it, because I was raised incredibly well. My parents were not perfect, but they gave me what they could, and they were great, and they were attentive, and they were present. They were there for everything that I did. Some would call me spoiled. For a family who didn't have a lot of money, they did whatever they could do to make me happy all the time, and my brother.
Right. You were adopted first, or the brother?
I was adopted first because my brother's younger than me.
Yeah.
But as soon as they got me, they were right on the list for another baby.
Right.
So it was 3 years before they got another.
Because
one.
it's a very elementary, basic concept. The idea that an adopted child would feel like they don't want to make a connection because they feel that that person is going to leave.
Yeah. Because it happens, and I said this on a former podcast, but I said this, and it's very true for anybody who's been adopted or left in any capacity, because it starts in the womb. My mother knew she was giving birth to me and giving me up.
Yes.
It wasn't something that was a shock.
So she knew.
She knew she was giving me up.
Yeah. So she carried the baby knowing that
No connection.
Yeah.
She's not connected with this embryo.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she's just like, I got to have this baby to get it out of me.
Right,
Get it out of me. I want to give it
right.
away.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it to be hateful.
Yeah.
It's simply science. It's factual.
Yeah.
I have a great relationship with her today.
Yeah.
But, it took time.
How old were you when you found her?
25.
You were 25.
Yep.
Right.
And it was great. She's a
Have
great
you guys
woman.
discussed that at all? Like what she was going through?
Yeah,
and
we
stuff?
discussed it as much as she can allow that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, she was 18 and lost her virginity. First time she had sex, she got pregnant.
With you?
With me.
Wow.
First time she had sex. And he said, go have an abortion. Now, when I met him a year later, he said, absolutely not true. Being a mother and having carried children, I believe her. Because she stayed in touch with his best friend the whole time. He left for college and left her and said, go have an abortion. Abortions were illegal.
How did you find her?
Through, and I talked about this too, through international locators. No, I found him through that. I found her through Social Security, through my adoption agency.
Yeah.
I had to go through them. I had to go through a psychological evaluation,
Which you failed. You failed.
which I failed miserably. So when they called her, they said, beware. So I found her through Social Security. She was living in Tennessee. You know what I'm thinking? How'd she get from New Jersey to Tennessee?
Yeah.
And that's how it all began. And she's a great woman who has been through a lot. So, but that's where it comes from. Going back to your question, absolutely it comes from I was
Sure.
an abandoned kid.
Yeah, it's not rocket science.
It's not that I wasn't wanted or wasn't loved.
Yeah.
It's fundamental.
Yeah,
So the intimacy is still a huge issue.
Well, no, it's funny because everybody deals with this exact same thing, and a lot of the issues are very similar. I mean, my storyline with my father, which was that I needed a connection with him, and he wasn't giving it to me, so I looked for that connection in men who were similar to him, playing out the exact same scenario, the same dynamics of my relationship with my father was kept repeating itself.
Okay, so after the 5 months, and who breaks up with who? When you realized it was your father.
I think he broke up with me.
Were you devastated?
I was devastated. So he moved to Athens. We split up, and then I would come out to try to win him back, and he would come back, and it was that thing over and over again. And I think because the level of pain that I felt, I had to go, what is this? Where is this coming from? And that was the first time I realized that I had an issue. It had to do with my father. And I don't know where I got that idea, but I was right on the money. And I was just devastated for years, actually.
I will tell you, though, these breakups, I would try to numb them by having sex with strangers. I don't recommend that. Or I would move on to another relationship right away. But my mother co-signed on that, which doesn't make it better. Because when I was engaged once before, my husband. And when I told her that it wasn't going to work because I was cheating on him with somebody else who I had fallen in love with, she said, well, how do you know that he's still going to be there when you break up with this one? I go, it doesn't matter if he's there. So she was the one who co-signed that was like, you have to have somebody else to go to.
I see.
When really, you guys listening, you don't. When you break up, you need to feel that pain. You need to process that pain. You need to mourn the loss. And then you need to move on, because what that is going to do is make you a stronger person. Because as a woman of a certain age, and I see friends divorcing now after 20 years of marriage with children involved, when you get to this age now, whether it's a long relationship or short, you know that it's almost a good thing when you break up for the most part, because you've gone through this process and you realize you're not happy. Breakups are different when you're 14, 18, 21 to 45 or 50. They're different. I'm not saying they hurt less, but I'm saying you're able to process them more. So now when I have friends that are divorced, they go, I had to leave. He's devastated, but I'm not in love. This is not my truth. This is not my happiness.
But people say the love that we grow up thinking is love is a romanticized Diane Warren, Nancy Meyer movie.
True.
That has to do with romance. And love at this point in my life, love is more to do with respect and trust and someone who's got my motherfucking back, baby.
Right.
So, for me to decide, George and I have tried to break up for years,
I know.
but the truth is, ain't nobody gonna have his back the way I do, and ain't nobody gonna have my back the way he does. And the truth is, it's almost like a business relationship.
There's a bottom joke in there somewhere.
I'm sure there is a bottom joke in there, but the truth is, you get to a certain age, and you're like, the chances of me meeting someone else who I can trust, who loves me to that degree, is very, very slim.
But that stops people. And I'm going to take the other side of that, because that stops people from living the life that they want to live. Because a lot of people that are together should not still be together, but they go, I know a lot of my girlfriends are like, oh, the thought of meeting somebody and re-getting to know them. They don't know that I don't like you chewing gum with your mouth open.
Right.
Do I have to teach a new motherfucker that? Because I don't want to.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that stops them because of that.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's about comfort and just laziness.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I think both George and I have, we've had our experiences and stuff.
Sure.
But the truth of the matter is, he has the ranch in Wyoming. I'm in Hollywood most of the time. So we talk all the time. We don't see each other all the time.
That right there is the key.
That's the key
That's the
there.
key.
What did Betty Davis say? She says the key to a happy marriage
It's separate houses or separate bedrooms?
separate bathrooms and separate bedrooms.
True.
It's
true. And I have to tell you, I'm not, to each his own.
Yeah, why not?
There's people, but me going on the road and touring, I come back excited to see my husband instead of leave me alone. I'm going to pull my hair out. It's when I'm home all the time. It's when we fight all the time.
Yeah.
And that's me and my craziness. I'm not even going to put it on him, although he's not innocent. But I fully agree with that. And you might look at people that have different separate houses or separate bedrooms as crazy. I'm telling you, that's what's keeping them together.
Right.
But so how do these kids that are going through this breakup realize that this is going to build them and their character for the better?
The thing is this. You have got to pay attention. When I broke up with this guy when I was 21 the first time, it was the first time I got to look at myself and go, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe my behavior. I couldn't believe some of the craziness I was doing. I knew that craziness because I'd seen my parents do the exact same thing. I mean, me and this guy, we got physical, just like my parents had.
That's never good.
It's never good. So there was the first time I had to look at myself, and I took a long time before I got into anything else and thought, wow. And I really retraced all my steps back and said, this is a problem.
Okay, so for the kids who can't afford therapy or go somewhere, what do they do then to start working on themselves?
Well, you know what? You pay attention, and you can ask some questions, because everybody is going through this, and everybody's willing to talk about it too, if you're willing to listen. The problem, though, is that we do grow up on these songs written by Diane Warren, is a friend of mine, but she's a genius because she plays into this collective idea of romance that we have, of love and loss, and that's why her songs resonate with us. But in reality, love and loss and relationships are very different than a Diane Warren song or a Nancy Meyers movie. Nancy Meyers does all these rom-com, things. That is a different world than the world of reality, which is trust and real relationships.
Partnership.
And partnership.
Yeah.
And partnership. Yeah. Because it has nothing to do with, you can have sex with anybody.
Oh, amen.
But,
and I did.
But to be with someone who you say, you know what? I am here for you.
Right.
And there is nothing that will change that.
And by the way, even if you have all the problems in the world, that is the hardest thing to find in a relationship. Yeah. If you have that, you can rekindle the spark.
Sure.
You have to really focus and do the work on yourself, because chances are it's probably you and what you're going through.
Right.
Or sometimes you've just grown apart for whatever the reason may be, but it doesn't mean you can't reconnect and re-get it together.
Yeah.
But as far as rebounding from breakups,
right.
you do have to allow yourself that mourning process and allow yourself to go through it. I promise you're going to be a stronger person
Oh my
for the
goodness.
next one.
That's what it's all about, though. That's, you have to build up sort of that sort of emotional calluses to be able to get back into it again.
And don't jump right back into it either.
No.
Like I did. Big mistake.
What's that thing they talk about? Women who have had babies, they forget. They have a selective memory when it comes to pain, where they forget on the second child. They get pregnant again, but they forget how much pain is involved.
Yeah.
But you had an
I had 2 C-sections, so I could not feel nothing. My toes, nothing. And there's morphine derivative called Duramorph in that spinal.
Yeah.
So I was like, ooh, she got red hair. Oh, that's cute. All right. How much does she weigh? You got to hear the videotapes. It's hilarious.
Oh, my
I sound like I'm
goodness.
just, and I don't even take Tylenol. So for me, it's like I am high.
What if there's a relationship epidural, though?
That would be fantastic.
Because the thing is, I think people do forget. Maybe they forget, the
pain when they go into
the
relationships.
pain of because there is a certain endorphins and chemistry that the upswing of
the
it is
honeymoon
just
phase.
like, oh my God, you're like floating on clouds.
There's nothing like it.
But then, that come down is just so
Because
hurtful.
that come down is actually reality. Because when we go into the relationship, that honeymoon phase, that flying high could last a year. It's usually 3 to 4 months, but it could last a year. That's when we're cooking together, we're getting chunky together, we're loving. Oh, it's sex all the time. It's like, oh my God, you're so perfect. I know, so are you. There's all that going on. And then when you come down to reality, you're like, oh, he's not so perfect.
Right.
And then you start. So that's when the real work begins.
Yeah.
5 months into a relationship.
Because I know there's a tendency to blame the pain you're feeling on the other person once
Of course.
once the pink cloud is over. But the truth is, that is the pain that's always there. It's just that somehow the relationship just brought it to the forefront.
Right.
Because it's always there. So in essence, the relationship becomes it's a curse or a blessing. It's your choice, but it is a blessing because it allows you to, for me in my case, to look at my upbringing and see what I took from my parents, and I got an opportunity to heal that and change that.
So could we say that in a method of surviving breakups, it's a beautiful, what we do is we should look at it as an opportunity to learn about ourselves and to learn that maybe it's hard to admit sometimes, but we do have to admit that maybe we did have something to do with this breakup. Maybe we're not perfect. I'm not talking about abusive relationships, but I'm talking about relationships that just, didn't go the extra mile. Maybe that's your opportunity to say, what am I doing? Am I repeating what I grew up with?
Well, I think it's something that you always have to ask yourself. What am I doing? What am I not seeing? What question have I not asked? And I'm not just saying it's not easy. Life isn't. I think if you decide to not do anything in this world, if you decide to sit still for the rest of your life, that's not easy.
No.
Nothing is easy. So if you're looking for easy and hard, you're not going to find it.
No, especially in a relationship, because relationships do have ups and downs. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to pose this. If you were in a relationship that didn't have ups and downs, would you enjoy it? And I don't just mean sexually. Like when everything's static, I don't know. To me, that seems boring. I think I'd run for the hills.
But a lot of people though, they live for the drama. They live for the drama.
Well, there's also completely to the wall too.
Yeah.
There's all the way down here and boring, and then there's all the way to the wall. I think ups and downs are part of the, dynamics in a relationship. That's the beauty. And sometimes there is no closure. I never got closure with my ex-boyfriend. I still play through it in my head to this
Which
day.
ex-boyfriend? You mean the 14?
No. The one before my husband.
Oh, right.
That I never got, because he broke up with me on the phone after 5 years. I don't
Do
think
you
I'll
need
ever.
closure? I mean, do you need closure?
Realistically, probably not.
What would that closure look like? You write the script. What would it be like? He calls you up and says, "Hey, Michelle, this is so-and-so. I just wanted to say, the way it ended, I'm sorry for setting you on fire and everything." And
My closure I'd like it to be face to face.
Yeah.
So I can say and let him see what he did. I didn't even get a chance to say what he did to me, how he made me feel, what he did along the journey. He screwed me up. And I wanted him to know and see what it did. And then I'd be done with it.
really, though, I mean,
I would be done with
for
it.
what? Okay. So you just said you would like for him to be in LA for some reason. He says, "Hey, Michelle, I'm in LA.
I want to see you.
I need to see you. Meet me over at the Starbucks."
Which is not a good idea. It's not a good idea.
For you to see
Right.
him?
Not a good idea.
Okay.
Not a good idea. It would just be so volatile.
Okay, but you said you wanted that.
I would want that, but
it's not a good
not
idea.
a good idea. I would want that.
It reminds me of my nephew Scotty when he was a baby, when he was like 2 years old. He said, "I want some water." I said, "What? What? I'm busy." He says, "I want some water." And then I go, I say, "Okay." I go over and pour him a glass of water and says, "Here." He says, "I don't want that."
That's exactly what it is.
I would crack up laughing.
I'm saying that I would want it, but it's not a good idea. It's not smart.
But you're saying you want that closure.
I wanted the closure because I had closure with every other relationship. Even if it was fuck you, we're done. He just called me up and said, "I'm breaking up with you." And I'm like, "What? Well, I have tickets to go see Rent for your birthday."
But wait a minute. Didn't you have any clues before? You had some clues that this might be happening.
Yes, but it was on his terms, not mine.
Okay.
So it's more to do with my control issue that it doesn't.
He calls you up and says, "I want to break up with you." You say, "I've got tickets to Rent."
I got tickets for Rent for your birthday. I said, "What are you doing? You can't listen to the therapist who thinks that we don't belong together."
Oh, was the therapist behind this?
Yes.
So you knew when he said, "Oh, I'm going to be seeing a therapist," you knew then that
he made me go to that therapist too.
So wait a minute. Okay.
Oh, it gets so twisted?
No,
you don't even know.
No, it's becoming very clear because I think you got closure. You got closure before he even broke up with you.
Probably. But it was on his terms, not mine. I moved out when he told me he'd never marry me. Then I said, "Why am I here? I'm leaving."
Oh.
We stayed together, but I left.
Yeah. See, there was your closure.
I
right
know,
there. That was your closure.
but it's not because he said, "I'm breaking up with you. Your stuff is at the therapist's. Goodbye." That's what happened.
All your stuff was at the
The
therapist?
therapists.
Did you see the therapist when you picked up your stuff?
Yes, and do you know what he said to me? We had a session. Do you know what he said to me? Want to talk about morally unethical? He said, "You can't leave. I love you."
The therapist
And I
said
said,
that.
"What do you mean I love you?" He said, "If you leave and you decide to come back, my door won't be open to you." I said, Are you kidding me? I've been your patient 2 times a week for 3 years, and you tell him you're not going to be here for me? Because you love
and your
me.
boyfriend had the same therapist?
Correct.
Oh, my God.
He made me super I didn't know.
Yeah.
I went to what he told me I had to do. The therapist was in love with me. The therapist put shit in his head to break us up. This is why I never got closure.
Oh, my God. Wait a minute. And who's supposed to be the one to tell people about stuff like this? You're a young woman.
Yeah.
Nobody. Who would it have
trusted
been
him.
in an ideal world? Would it have been your parents?
My mother, if she only knew the deceit that was going on, but she didn't know either. She should have said she didn't know anything about therapy. But if she did, like I know, she would have said you should not be going to the same therapist.
Yeah, that's a good
That's
idea.
a good start.
But I'm just thinking about humans on this planet and how we're supposed to learn these things. And I don't think there is a set way. I think we've set it up to where the way you learn is through hard knocks.
That's it.
Through pain.
Yeah.
Through pain.
That was the greatest pain I've ever felt.
I'm sure it was.
Ever to this day.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't want to bring that into my next relationship. And when I fell in love with my husband, who is amazing, and I adore him and so in love with him, but that's how it, we met in Central Park and that was it. Not in the
Rambles?
No, Rambles. I wish that would have been the best story ever.
It's an old joke. I'm sorry. Michelle and I have
like
known each other for many years.
Gay section of Central
Yeah,
Park.
it used to be. I don't know if it still is. It's
I
a gay section of Central Park where men used to go and meet other men.
Every section is the gay section. Of
I
Central
don't know.
Park.
I don't know. But the Rambles was a punchline for many years, and so I
still is.
Yeah.
We still do it. So that's what it is. And you're right. I don't know if what would getting me closure do? What would it do?
You know what? This is the thing, and I learned this. I learned from relationships. What you do for 2 weeks, and all it takes is 2 weeks, is the loved one who's out of your life. What you do is you pray, and I'm not religious, but I do pray. Am I wrong?
Spiritual.
Okay, but I pray, and I will pray for that person. I will say, "Dear God, lift so and so up high to receive your blessing. I release so and so to you to receive your blessing."
That's hard because what you want to do is say, "Dear so and so, I would like you to hit this motherfucker with a bus. Make sure his penis is filled with herpes." And make sure they are oozing pus. And the next time a girl tries to have sex with him, he cannot get it up.
Oh my God.
My prayer is very different than your prayer.
No, that's it's interesting, it's sort of a revenge prayer. But
Yes.
the truth is, what you want to do is you want to release them, because what you're doing is you're holding on to them, and you won't get closure until you open your hand. We talked about this earlier, about surrender being the most powerful thing you can do. If you surrender the relationship to God or Buddha or Krishna or whoever it is your higher power is, that's when you allow the doors to open, and you could allow your greatness and the frequency, your own personal frequency, to enter into the relationship and move it forward, because relationships do not end. They do not end. They go on, whether the person is alive, dead, in prison, or next door.
Because you had a relationship with them.
Yeah,
that was your
because
time.
and relationships are energy. They are energy forces that reverberate throughout the universe forever and ever. So what you want to do for closure is to pray for them, to release them. Release that person.
You hear that, kids? Do not wish herpes or anything else. We release them.
You release them, you wish them the best, and you release them so that you actually say a prayer for all the things that you want, all the things that you want. So you say, I release this person and I wish them all the love, laughter, joy, abundance that this world has to offer. And that is because what you're doing is you're actually sending that to you. And by releasing them, you're actually giving them a gift. The gift you're actually giving to yourself.
See? So you guys are not alone in this. We all go through it. Rue's gone through it. I've gone through it.
Yeah.
And that soulmate is out there, guaranteed. And
I think there are several soulmates.
No, I agree.
I always hate on television when they say, "Oh, are you the one? Are you the one?" Honey, you have several.
There's many.
There's several minis.
Several minis.
You have several minis, but
Take
you
it
have to
from
be.
me.
You have to be open.
Take it from my vagina. There's several minis.
Well, several many have taken it from your vagina. I have to think, But no, I think it's an important thing, and I think it's something that we don't talk about enough. Because we're inundated with these ideas through movies and songs
About the one,
and about my true love, and you are your true love, and if you open that true love up, many people can experience it with you.
There's love on different levels.
Yes.
There's love on different levels. Each relationship that I was in, even the backseat ones, with love at the moment. But seriously, there's love in every relationship.
Well, you're talking about romantic love, but
that's what I'm saying. My love with you.
Yeah.
You're a soulmate on that level.
But the truth is that there is only one love. The romantic love is a thing unto its own. I think
it's physical.
It's physical, but I think it's a phantom love. I don't think it's it's an idea of love. But true love doesn't have an opposite. It's all there is. It's all there is.
That's beautiful.
So, I didn't come up with this stuff. I'm just repeating what I heard, what I had heard.
That's going to help a lot of people understand.
Well, also, I think staying in the moment, too, because, when I think about the relationships that emulated my relationship with my father, it was me reliving something in the past or bringing something from the past into the future.
Right.
And so for me to release my father and that relationship would allow me to move forward. So if you want to move forward from a heartbreak of a relationship, you have to release it so that it can go and be and reverberate on its own, so that you can open yourself up to what is there for you. And there is something there for you. There's more. There's more there's abundance. There's unlimited love in the universe, and it's there for you.
Just for the taking.
Yes.
I love that.
Right. So I hope that helped some people out there. I think it did. But honestly, people are going to do what they're going to do.
That's it. And you do part of learning is the journey.
And the pain.
Yeah.
And the pain.
Yeah.
The journey has pain in it, and that's okay.
Can't go through life
But you
pain-free.
will heal.
Yeah.
You will heal if you allow yourself to heal.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. All right, kids. Well, that was us. That's What's the Tea.
That's us in a nutshell. Bye.
Bye. Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen? And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes. If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Amen.